Hear me? So today we are going to do something really important, and before that, just a brief introduction since it's my first class with you guys on this platform. My name is Aritro Gupta, and I've been teaching for more than a decade, and for the last 6 years I've been engaged with the coaching industry. And so I have trained a lot of students from these courses like the IPM and various related exams like DUJAT or Symbiosis, Christ, etc. Also for the CAT exam for the IMs and various other exams. So great to be on this platform today. In today's class, what we are going to discuss is the exam which is the IPM. I think everybody has understood by now, IPM is the Integrated Program in Management, which, as you all know, was started by one of the IMs, but now several others have also jumped on the bandwagon. So let us begin. So there's a particular exam. IPM is not the exam. IPM is the name of the course. The exam is the IPMAT. So let's just start. So in today's session, I'm going to tell you all about it. जो important चीजें हैं, सारी चीजें हम एक बार में समझेंगे. So let's start. Okay, so the name of the course, first of all, IPM stands for Integrated Program in Management. As the name suggests, it is integrated, combines several aspects of management. So मैं थोड़ा सा आपको introduction दूँ. If we go back a decade, 2011, the IM Indore was, so back then there were only 6 to 7 IMs. If I'm not wrong, I think it was 2011 or 12 at the time of the 11th 5-year plan. That's when several new IMs came up, and that was what was called the new IMs. And then further, I believe in 2016 and 17, we had further IMs came up, and those we call them baby IMs. But back in the day, in 2008-9, that's when people started thinking about this program. The IM Indore was considered sort of the 6th best among the IMs, but they came up with this really interesting program. There was a lot of opposition initially from its fellow IMs, from its peer group. So it was first launched by Indore, which is in Madhya Pradesh, as you know. By the way, Indore is also very famous nowadays as India's cleanest city. Last several years, that is a tag this city has been earning. So there was a lot of opposition because जितने भी बाकी IMs थे, as well as rest of the management world, उनको लगा ये 5 साल का integrated program does not make sense. IM Indore said, class 12 के बाद कोई general graduation करना किसी भी subject में ठीक है, उसका value है, no doubt. But अगर आपको MBA करना ही है, why not straight away start from class, after class 12 itself? So everybody thought IMs was after graduation. They gave this opportunity कि class 12 के बाद you can enter an IIM. So that's how there was this sort of opposition initially. So it's a 5-year integrated, as I said, BBA plus MBA program. Now, so let us go through a little bit of the timeline and let's see how things worked with them. So initially, the program, I hope you're able to see me and the slide. Do let me know. Do put in your questions on the chat window. On the right hand side, you can see there's the YouTube chat window. तो कोई भी सवाल हो आपके, please आप उस पे लिखिए. I will be very happy to answer. So the IMs were standalone institutes. Okay, so this is another interesting thing. ध्यान से समझिए. The IIMs, they are standalone institutes. That's what they were. They were approved, they were affiliated to the, or rather approved by the AICTE, the All India Council for Technical Education, जिनका काम है affiliating colleges which are standalone, which are not part of any university per se. There was another regulatory body which is the UGC, University Grants Commission, जिनका काम होता है universities and university based courses को approve करना. So इस पे थोड़ा distinction समझिए. There's AICT and there's UGC. So all the IMs, including the very best, Ahmedabad, Bengaluru, Kolkata, they would all provide what is called the postgraduate diploma in management. Diploma to some of you might sound a little, unfashionable, but this diploma, because it was provided by the best of the IMs, so it was and not just for that, but also due to legal reasons, it was considered equal to an MBA, equivalent to an MBA, right? Because standalone institutes in India cannot grant a degree. So that is why they were awarding a diploma, but it was as per AICTE equivalent to an MBA. Also approved by the AIU, or the Association of Indian Universities. So nothing wrong. It's just a nomenclature, but it's equal to an MBA. One can do a PhD after that. It's called a fellowship, but for all practical purposes, it's the same thing. One can also apply for Sarkari exams, this thing. However, the IIMs only had AICTE approval when it came to the PG, postgraduate level. For UG, they did not have this approval, which is why ये जो पहले के जो 3 साल है उसको आप कैसे अप्रूव करोगे वो एक चैलेंज था. So let us understand. So that's where IGNOU was roped in. I think you've all heard of IGNOU, the Indira Gandhi National Open University, one of the world's largest open universities based in New Delhi. This was roped in to provide a degree at the UG level. तो इसका क्या टेक्निकल एस्पेक्ट बनता है, जब यूजी फर्स्ट 3 years के बाद, बिकॉज द IIM कैन नॉट ग्रांट यू अ डिग्री और इवन अ डिप्लोमा, स्टूडेंट्स वर गेटिंग अ BBA डिग्री फ्रॉम IGNOU. आफ्टर दैट 2 years दे वुड स्टडी एट IIM, द सेम प्रोग्राम विच ऑल दो स्टूडेंट्स आर डूइंग जिन्होंने कैट एग्जाम दिया, एंड उनको मिलेगा the PGDM, right? So that is how things worked back in the day. Right. However, so yeah, as I said, it was approved by the AICTE and provided the postgraduate diploma after the 5 years. Right. Let's move ahead then, further on the timeline. Okay. Now, this is something which happened pretty recently, couple of years back. The Ministry of Education, which was earlier known as the Ministry of Human Resource Development, उन्होंने IIMs को, all the IIMs have now been recognized as INIs. INI का मतलब है Institute of National Importance. So any institute which has this category, they can grant their own first-hand degrees. Right, the IIMs being among them. So now they're able to grant BBA plus MBA degree. इसका एक और importance है कि now there is an exit option after 3 years. पहले क्या था? Even if there was theoretically an exit option, now there is not much value in a 3-year UG where the degree is ultimately from IGNOU. It is not from the IIMs. Now there's a 3-year BBA degree, so you can actually exit after that. You can sit for the CAT exam and then apply for the all the other IIMs are also open to you. पहले क्या था, आप इसमें आ गए तो आपको यही 5 साल करना है. So a brilliant student, उसके लिए IIM में पहुंचना 12th के बाद एक बहुत अच्छी बात है, but ultimately you are still at Indore, which is the 5th or 6th best IIM. You're not at the very best. So if you're a topper, school topper, who can make it to, let's say, an SRC or a St. Stephen's, you'd probably think, let's do our graduation from in BCom honors, Eco honors, उसके बाद मास्टर्स में हम बैठेंगे, क्या पता we make it to Ahmedabad. So that's obviously way better. But अभी वो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. 3 साल के बाद आप BBA के बाद आप एग्जिट कर सकते हो with an IIM degree. So you can have a BBA from an IIM Indore and an MBA from Ahmedabad, Bengaluru, Kolkata, whatever. ठीक है. I hope everybody is clear so far. कोई भी questions हो, please feel free to ask me. इनफैक्ट इस पे मैं एक और चीज़ ऐड करूंगा कि अभी आपको शायद मालूम है, लास्ट ईयर नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी रिलीज हुआ. द न्यू NEP रिलीज्ड बाय द ऑनरेबल HRD मिनिस्टर. नाउ ही इज द मिनिस्टर ऑफ एजुकेशन, श्री रमेश पोखरियाल निशंक. सो वंस ही हैज गिवन दिस, नाउ वी हैव इन एडिशन टू 3+2, वी in fact have 3+1+1. So now we have multiple exit options. 3 साल BBA के बाद you can quit. 4 years के बाद then you can get something of a diploma, and 5 years करने advanced diploma, and 5 years के बाद you can get an MBA. So all this is these are several new options which are now available. So exit option now available after first 3 years, जो पहले option नहीं था. Even if it was there, it wasn't really of much attraction. Right, so there are multiple exit options now which are based on guidelines from the new NEP, as I said. Right, this is the really interesting part. If you look at the last point, many more IIMs have now opted to go for the IPM. Initially, the whole industry was aghast. How can you do reach an IIM after class 12? many people were angry, but now they've all joined in, and I really hope that maybe by next year the biggest ones, Ahmedabad, Bengaluru, Kolkata, Lucknow, Kozhikode, they all join the list, and then maybe we can have a common exam like CAT is there for the MBA level. So let's just see. Right now many more IIMs have entered. Let's just look at them. The first of these which started was Rohtak, which is in Haryana, not far from Delhi, not far from Gurugram or Noida. So it's right at the hub of a lot of corporate activity. Oh, temperature बढ़ा दीजिए 22-23. Right. So Rohtak was the one which started in 2019. 2021, which is this year, we have a few more which have come into play. Let's just look at those names as well. There is IIM Ranchi, which is in Jharkhand, of course. So Rohtak is one of the new IIMs. So there are 6 IIMs which are known as the original 6. Ahmedabad, Bengaluru, Kolkata, Lucknow, Kozhikode and Indore. These were set up over a period of time. Then there was Shillong, which came up in 2008. And after that, we've had the new IIMs and the baby IIMs. So this is, Rohtak was among the new IIMs. And of course, we now also have Ranchi in Jharkhand. We have IIM Bodh Gaya, which is in Bihar. Bodh Gaya, as you all know, associated with a lot of history. Gautam Buddha got his enlightenment there. And there is IIM Jammu, which is in Jammu and Kashmir. There is in fact one more, and that is not even an IIM, but this is where the popularity of this course really makes a big impression, because it's not just IIMs which are doing this, but there is also the triple IT. So a lot of you might be engineers or you're studying in class 12 in PCM. तो आपको मालूम होगा कि JEE exam देने के बाद, of course, everybody's dream is to make it to an IIT. But these are also very good institutes. There are more than 20 of them right now. Many of them operate on a public-private partnership mode. Triple IT is Indian Institute of Information Technology. Similar mode to an IIT, except that these focus only on information technology and not on the other streams of engineering. Yes, best IIM Piyush is IIM Ahmedabad. That's what is generally considered the best one. Apart from this, we also have Bengaluru and Kolkata, so this was known as the ABC, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta. You can put Lucknow as 4th, but Indore is definitely in this after 12th category. At this point, I'll put Indore as number 1. I'm sure the others will also come up very soon. Rohtak, I really think Rohtak has a great chance of coming up because of its extremely, shall we say, fertile location. It's near Delhi, Noida, Gurugram. A lot of the corporate hubs are right next door. So in terms of corporate interaction, I think Rohtak is primed for a lot of success. So yes, there's triple IT, which is in Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh. वहाँ पे भी एक start हुआ है. इन्होंने अभी तक अपना final नहीं बताया, but yes, काफी सारा potential है. So let's move ahead. ओके तो अभी हम एग्जाम समझ लेते हैं. मैंने आपको कॉलेजेस बता दिए, थोड़ी सी हिस्ट्री बताई. अभी मैं आपको एग्जाम्स बताता हूँ, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली सारे स्टूडेंट्स का ये मेजर टेंशन रहता है कि कौन से एग्जाम्स के लिए प्रिपेयर करें. अच्छा, तो पहला तो ये है जो ओरिजिनल एग्जाम है 2011 से चल रहा है, आईपी मैट इन IPM एप्टीट्यूड टेस्ट बेसिकली और एडमिशन टेस्ट आई बिलीव इंदौर. देयर इज अ सिमिलर आईपी मैट फॉर रोहतक. थोड़ा सा वेरिएशन है इनके कोर्स में. रोहतक का थोड़ा लंबा पेपर है, बिट मोर टाइम कंज्यूमिंग, बट अल्टीमेटली इट्स सिमिलर कंटेंट. आई विल टॉक अबाउट देम इन अ व्हाइल. नाउ दिस इज एन इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग. Obviously Indore and Rohtak were the first ones, so they had their own exams. The new IIMs, they did initially float the idea of separate exams, but then soon they realized that it will be really difficult for students to apply for so many exams, considering that a student doesn't only go for IPM. An average class 12 student would also apply for several other colleges like say a Symbiosis University, Delhi University, Indraprasth University. तो ऐसे बहुत सारे colleges, तो 10-12 papers देना student के लिए बहुत ही मुश्किल होगा. तो at least there is some sort of consolidation. So there's a JIPMAT paper which will be conducted by the NTA, that's the body basically which conducts all exams. examinations. So GIPMAT will be conducted by National Testing Agency. So the IIM Bodh Gaya and Jammu will conduct that. अभी तक full details नहीं release किया इन्होंने कि कितनी कि क्या रहेगा पेपर में. Now SAT is another exam, बहुत पुराना exam है. It's a paper lot of students naturally take up. So IIM Ranchi will accept SAT scores as well. So even if you do not give their own exams, even if you've given SAT, so you go with SAT. That's good enough. So a lot of students give SAT for studying abroad. It's a very popular exam. तो उसका स्कोर अभी एक्सेप्ट होगा. SAT में प्लीज याद रखिए, मैथ्स ज़्यादा मुश्किल नहीं है, रीजनिंग ज़्यादा मुश्किल नहीं है फॉर इंडियंस, बिकॉज इट्स एन इंटरनेशनल टेस्ट. इंडियंस जनरली कंसिडर्ड, we do tend to have naturally a good brain for maths. So generally the maths is not very tough for Indians, but English is pretty tough. तो आपको English की तैयारी काफ़ी करनी होगी इसमें. अच्छा, ये रहा intake. So as I said, Prayagraj and Jammu have not yet specified their exact figure, but Indore, Rohtak, Ranchi and Bodh Gaya have mentioned. So as you can see, Rohtak has the highest intake at 160, and you can obviously there are the usual reservations which is all present in all of them. SC, ST, OBC, EWS, all of them are present. So right, you just check the number quickly, then I'll move to the next one. Right, okay. Okay, this is a bit on Gradeup. You can just check out these details. This is an offer you have only for today. There's a 65% off, so I would strongly urge all of you, go for this program. 999 rupees का है, 65% off मतलब 349 में मिलेगा only for today. So guys, please would strongly this is the procedure basically. Okay, I hope you've all gone through this thing. This is again, there's further options for savings किसको नहीं पसंद. So एक और कोड है, अगर आप इसको यूज करें extra 40, तो फिर आपको definitely further savings मिलने वाली है. So इसको please आप देख लीजिए. Okay, now I'm back to the content. I just hope that you understood all these things. ये बहुत important आपके लिए, इसको आप use करेंगे तो massive benefits for you. Right. I'm coming back to the subject areas. So we just spoke about the intake, seat intake. Now I'll tell you a little bit on what are the areas. Quant's very important. In fact, if you look at a lot of the entrance exams for BBA or law or होटल मैनेजमेंट, मास कम्युनिकेशन, लिबरल आर्ट्स, यू विल टिपिकली नोटिस क्लास 10 तक का मैथ्स आता है. बट दिस इज एन एक्सेप्शन. इसमें क्लास 11, 12 के भी कुछ टॉपिक्स आते हैं, जैसे कि इंटीग्रेशन, डिफरेंशिएशन, कैलकुलस के क्वेश्चंस काफ़ी कॉमन है. सी ऐसा नहीं कि मैथ्स 12th में नहीं हो तो आप नहीं बैठ सकता, ऐसा नहीं है. यू आर एलिजिबल टू सिट, और इवन इफ यू डोंट गेट अ सिंगल मार्क इन हायर मैथ्स, यू कैन स्टिल मेक इट इफ यू आर वेरी गुड एट द रेस्ट. But it's always, shall we say, I would always suggest that if somebody is good at maths, you go for this. Even if you're not very good, you can make it, but you can't be like, आप समझ रहे हो ना, like you have to be reasonably good at it, क्योंकि इसमें थोड़ा higher level maths आता है. This and DUJAT, which might soon become CUCT, also Narsi Monji. These are 3 papers which do have higher level of maths. The others are all class 10 तक, right? So ये जो मैं subject area बता रहा हूँ, this is so far common for all the IPM related examinations. There's verbal ability, obviously, English, logical reasoning. English में grammar आता है, vocabulary, also you have reading comprehension, and again English isn't very easy. It's pretty tough. This is a tough exam. Please do not underestimate this. Logical reasoning में 2 areas है. One is verbal logic, the other is logical reasoning, जो arithmetical है, critical reasoning वगैरह उसमें included है. Finally, so this topic is not there in the main paper, but it's very important for anybody who wants to make it to the final round. General awareness. So general awareness is something that I have been teaching for several years, and general awareness is इसमें नहीं आएगा, but WAT में आएगा. So पहले अगर मैं format लूँ, pre-pandemic 2019 तक क्या होता था, students main paper देते थे, उसके बाद they would be shortlisted और एग्जाम सेंटर में जाके they would have to go for a WAT. WAT का मतलब है written ability टेस्ट, तो आपको कोई आर्टिकल 2 टॉपिक दिया जाएगा, आपको उन पे लिखना होगा. इट्स नॉट अबाउट हाउ मेनी बिग वर्ड्स यू कैन यूज, you'll have to use some logical sense to it. So for example, I'm just giving a very random example right now, rough example. अगर आपको पूछा जाए, let's say about some government scheme, let's say Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and the successes that India has achieved out of that. So you have to give facts and figures. जैसे मैंने आज share किया था, Indore being the cleanest city. So you have to mention कहीं ना कहीं कुछ facts and figures. Right, if there's a question on the Indian economy, on import and export value, it could also be a question on some abstract thing. For example, let's say women empowerment. So you have to give some indexes, some important days and dates to back up your stuff. So GK बहुत important है. 2019 तक ऐसे होता था. 2020 में because of the obvious reason, students could not be called to the center. So when they gave their IPMAT itself, उसी time VAT उसके साथ included था. So they had to put in 2 articles within the VAT. Also, all the IPMs till now, they have a PI as well, a personal interview, though I believe one of the newer ones has not explicitly mentioned the same. So but generally speaking, you must consider general knowledge is important. Aaj se hi start reading newspapers. I'll discuss in detail later on about GK subject, but otherwise you can take a look. So these are the points to keep in mind. So weightage for final selection will be given to past academics as well. So you cannot say that class 12 में बिल्कुल पढ़ाई नहीं करूँगा या नहीं करूँगी अपने boards के लिए, बस पास होना है. That is a possibility in several other exams, and several other really prestigious exams do not look at class 12 marks at all, but that is not the case in IPMAT or in DUJAT. So that way it's pretty similar. All those going for these management exams, you're in a similar position. I've already told you there is a bit of higher maths. There is negative marking for questions related to MCQs. सारे questions MCQs के नहीं होते. कुछ questions are also you do need to write as well. So there are non-MCQ questions as well. So उनमें negative marking नहीं है. So online center based exam, again this is as per last year. हो सकता है इस साल बदल जाए. Again, it is unlikely. Most likely it will remain an online center based test. I think Rohtak last year conducted a online home based test, but Indore asked you to visit the center. There are common centers, तो वहीं पे हुआ था. चलिए आगे देखते हैं. Also there are multiple offline interview centers, but as you can see मैंने यहाँ पे disclaimer डाल रखा है in case pandemic does not persist. Right? अगर pandemic God forbid if some, we are back in those worst days, then this may not be possible. But as of now, we can assume that it will be held offline, and they will create number of centers so that students don't have to travel a lot, right? So that they're trying to create number of centers. Right. Couple of more points to keep in mind. So Nirma University in Ahmedabad, also a very good university in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. They also accept the IPMAT Indore score. For their version, even they have a 5-year IPM. There is also a 5-year IPM with an exit option at the Narsi Monji University, very important, very famous university in Mumbai. वहाँ पे भी 5 साल का कोर्स है. तो जो भी इस 5-year प्रोग्राम के लिए जा रहे हैं, IPM इंदौर वाला, रोहतक वाला, आप निर्मा में you don't have to give a separate exam fortunately, but you can go for this. Narsi Monji also you must go for it. It's almost time. I need to wrap up, guys, but just a few more things. So IPM Jammu has not yet announced any provision for a personal interview. And as I mentioned, the JIPMAT will be conducted by the NTA. Right, so that was pretty much it from my side. Thank you so much, guys. It was wonderful interacting with you all. For the first time I'm taking a session here. I'm sure we are going to have a lot more fun in the next several months as we prepare for the exams. If you have any questions, do feel free to type it out on the right hand side. Thank you so much, guys. See you all.